There are moments in life when the ordinary veil of the world seems to grow thin, when something unseen stirs quietly behind the circumstances of our days. Many pass through life, believing that everything is random, that struggles come without purpose, and victories arrive by chance. Yet deep within the human soul, there has always been a whisper that something far greater is at work, something ordered, something intentional, something divine. And today that whisper becomes louder for those who have been waiting, enduring and wondering whether heaven has noticed their journey. Imagine for a moment that beyond the visible world there exists a great and eternal record, not a record written by human hands, but one kept in the halls of heaven itself, a record where every tear, every prayer, spoken in the silence of the night, every moment of faith, when you chose hope over despair, has been carefully witnessed. Nothing has been forgotten. Nothing has been ignored. The battles you fought alone, the patience you showed when injustice surrounded you, the quiet courage you carried when no one applauded your strength. All of it has been seen. And now comes a message that may feel almost impossible to believe. A divine file bearing your name has been opened. This is not the kind of file that the world understands. It is not a document of accusation, nor a record meant to condemn. Rather, it is the unfolding of a heavenly review, a moment when the spiritual realm acknowledges that your life has reached a turning point. There are seasons in every soul's journey, seasons of planting, seasons when the harvest begins to reveal itself. Many people abandon hope during the waiting season because it feels endless. But heaven does not measure time the way humans do. What felt like delay was often preparation. What felt like silence was often protection. And what felt like loss was sometimes the removal of what could not accompany you into the future that was being prepared. There are forces in the unseen realm that stand for justice, protection, and divine order. Among them is the great protector, who has long been described as the defender of the faithful, the one who stands in the presence of divine authority and carries out the purposes of heaven. When such a messenger speaks, the message is never casual. It comes with weight, with urgency, and with intention. To say that a divine file bearing your name has been opened is to say that your life has entered a moment of heavenly attention. Think about the many days when you questioned your path. Perhaps you wondered whether your prayers were drifting into empty space. Perhaps you looked at others who seemed to move ahead effortlessly while you faced obstacle after obstacle. It is easy in those moments to believe that life is unfair or that destiny has overlooked you. But the truth is often far more mysterious. Some lives move quickly because they are meant for simple purposes. Other lives move slowly because they are being shaped for something greater. A sword that will defend a kingdom cannot be formed in a single moment. It must pass through fire, pressure, and careful shaping before it becomes strong enough to fulfill its purpose. Your life has been passing through such shaping. Every challenge that tested your patience was quietly refining your character. Every disappointment that forced you to rely on faith instead of certainty was strengthening something within you that the world cannot easily break. And every season of isolation was not abandonment, but preparation for clarity. Now imagine heaven pausing to examine the record of your journey. Every act of kindness you offered when bitterness would have been easier. Every act of kindness you offered when bitterness would have been easier. Every prayer you whispered when hope seemed distant. Every decision to walk the higher path even when the lower one promised quick rewards. These things have formed a testimony far greater than you realize. It suggests that a chapter once sealed is beginning to unfold. In human terms, it might be compared to the moment when a long-awaited decision is finally reviewed after years of waiting. But in the realm of the spirit, such moments carry deeper meaning. They mark the transition between preparation and revelation. Something is shifting. The weight of the past season, the confusion, the battles that seemed to have no explanation, these were not the end of your story. They were the pages leading up to a moment when heaven itself acknowledges that your journey has reached a critical point. And when such moments arrive, they rarely come quietly. They begin with a stirring in the soul, a sense that life is about to move in a direction you could not have predicted. Doors that remained closed for years begin to tremble. Paths that once appeared impossible start to reveal themselves. Even the doubts that once filled your mind begin to fade, as clarity slowly takes their place. The message that a divine file bearing your name is now open is not meant to create fear. It is meant to awaken awareness. It is meant to remind you that your life has never been unnoticed, and your struggles have never been meaningless. There has always been a greater story unfolding behind the scenes of your ordinary days, and now something within that story has begun to move. There are moments when the soul senses that something greater than ordinary life is taking place, even if the mind cannot fully explain it. It is as though an unseen hand has turned a page in the story of your life. For a long time you may have felt that nothing was moving, that the heavens were silent, and that the prayers you released into the night were disappearing into an empty sky. Yet the truth is that the spiritual world does not operate on the same timetable as the human world. What feels like delay to us is often the quiet preparation of something far greater than we imagined. When a divine file bearing your name is said to be open, it signifies attention from realms beyond the visible world. It suggests that the experiences you have lived through, the hidden battles, the disappointments, the endurance you showed when giving up, would have been easier, have reached a moment of recognition. Heaven does not overlook perseverance. The struggles that shaped you were never meaningless, even when they appeared confusing or unfair. Think back to the many seasons when you felt misunderstood or isolated. There were moments when doors closed without explanation. Opportunities slipped away, even though you had worked and hoped for them. People you trusted may have walked away at the exact moment you needed support. In those times it might have seemed as though life itself had turned against you. But the deeper truth is that such seasons often serve a purpose that cannot be seen until much later. There are journeys that require separation before elevation. Sometimes what feels like loss is actually protection. Sometimes what feels like rejection is the quiet redirection of your path towards something that was always meant for you. The human heart tends to measure success by immediate results, but the spiritual order measures progress by transformation. Your character, your patience, and your faith were being shaped during those silent years. The opening of a divine record indicates that a period of evaluation has begun. Every life carries a testimony written not only by the choices we make, but also by the spirit in which we make third. Many people perform good actions when circumstances are easy, but the true measure of a soul is revealed when kindness survives hardship, when integrity remains even in the absence of reward, and when hope refuses to die despite repeated disappointment. You may not have realized it, but each time you chose patience instead of anger, something was being written in that unseen record. Each time you continued to believe that goodness still mattered, even while witnessing injustice around you, another line was added to the testimony of your life. Heaven notices the quiet victories that the world ignores. This is why moments of spiritual recognition often come after long periods of difficulty. The challenges you endured were not random storms meant to destroy you. They were trials that revealed what already existed within your heart. Just as gold must pass through intense fire before its purity becomes visible, the strength of your spirit was revealed through the pressure you faced. Now imagine the unseen realm, observing the path you have walked, every tear shed in private, every prayer whispered when no one else was listening, every step you took forward, even when you felt exhausted. These things have not been forgotten. They have formed a story that is far more powerful than you may believe. The announcement that your file is open suggests that a shift is beginning to occur. Life moves in seasons, and the season you have been in may have been one of preparation rather than reward. Preparation often feels heavy because its purpose is to strengthen you for responsibilities that lie ahead. If blessings arrive too quickly, the soul might not yet be ready to carry them. Many people desire transformation, but few understand the process required to achieve it. Growth is rarely comfortable. It often involves the breaking of old habits, the removal of false expectations, and the courage to continue walking when the destination is unclear. Yet those who endure the shaping process emerge with a depth of wisdom that cannot be gained through easy victories. Your story may have contained chapters of confusion, but those chapters were building something within you. Compassion grew where pain once lived. Patience developed where frustration once ruled. And a quiet strength formed that cannot easily be shaken by the circumstances of the world. When heaven begins to review the journey of a soul, it is not merely observing the past, it is preparing the future. The recognition of your endurance marks the beginning of a new movement in your life. Paths that once seemed blocked may begin to open. Understanding may arrive where there was once uncertainty, and opportunities may appear in ways that surprise you completely. Yet the most important change often happens within the heart itself. The awareness that your life carries divine attention can awaken a renewed sense of purpose. You begin to see that your experiences were not meaningless accidents, but parts of a greater design, unfolding step by step. The file that bears your name is not a symbol of judgment alone. It is also a record of faith, resilience, and the quiet courage that carried you through seasons that many would not have survived with the same spirit. And as this moment unfolds, the story that once seemed stalled is beginning to move again, guided by a wisdom far beyond human understanding. There are turning points in a person's life that cannot be explained by logic alone. They arrive quietly, almost invisibly, yet everything begins to shift around them. It may begin as a feeling deep within the soul, a sense that something unseen has begun to move. The world around you may look the same, the routines of life may continue as they always have, but internally there is a growing awe. Ines that a season is changing. When a divine file bearing your name is opened, it signals that the unseen realm has taken notice of the path you have walked, and the destiny that has been forming through every experience you have endured. Many people go through life believing that their struggles disappear into the silence of the universe, that their hardships are simply unfortunate events without deeper meaning. Yet, there is a greater story unfolding behind the surface of human life. Every trial you faced was not merely an obstacle, but a chapter of preparation. Even the moments that seemed unfair were shaping something inside you that could not have been formed in comfort. Consider the times when you felt delayed while others appeared to move forward with ease. You may have questioned why your path required so much patience. There were nights when you wondered if the effort you invested in doing what was right truly mattered. But often the lives that carry the greatest purpose must pass through longer seasons of preparation. A foundation that will hold something significant must be built carefully and slowly. The unseen record of your life does not only contain the obvious events that others witnessed, it also holds the hidden moments that no one else saw. The times you chose forgiveness instead of resentment. The times you remained honest even when dishonesty seemed easier. The moments when you stood alone because you refused to compromise your integrity. These quiet decisions have far greater weight than the world usually recognizes. When heaven opens a file connected to a human life, it is not merely observing actions. It is recognizing the spirit behind those actions, the sincerity of your intentions, the endurance of your faith, and the courage you showed in the face of discouragement are all part of the testimony written about your journey. This is why, sir, certain moments arrive when it feels as though life itself begins to respond differently to you. Suddenly, doors that remained closed for years begin to move. Situations that once felt impossible start to reveal small openings. Even people who once ignored your presence may begin to notice a strength or clarity within you that was not visible before. These shifts do not happen randomly. They occur because a long season of preparation has reached the moment where movement becomes possible. Yet it is important to understand that such moments also bring responsibility. Recognition from the unseen realm does not mean that the journey becomes effortless. Instead, it means that the lessons you learned through struggle will now guide the direction of what comes next. The wisdom formed during hardship becomes the compass that helps you navigate new opportunities. You may begin to notice that your perspective on life has changed. The things that once disturbed you may no longer hold the same power over your mind. Patience may come more naturally than before. Compassion may rise within you, even when others behave unfairly. This transformation is often the clearest sign that your earlier seasons were not wasted. They were refining your character so that you could step into a future that requires deeper understanding. When a divine file is opened, it also means that the story of your life is entering a moment of alignment. Pieces that once seemed scattered may begin to connect in ways you never expected. Encounters with certain people, opportunities that appear unexpectedly, and insights that come during quiet reflection can all become part of a larger pattern revealing itself. There may also be moments of realization when you begin to understand why certain paths never worked out in the past. Situations that once felt like painful losses may reveal themselves as necessary redirections. If those earlier doors had opened, you might never have reached the place where you are now prepared to walk. This is the mystery of divine timing. It does not follow human expectations, but when it unfolds, the wisdom behind it becomes clearer. What once looked like delay begins to look like protection. What once felt like abandonment begins to appear as guidance that was present even when you could not see it. The opening of your heavenly record suggests that a period of movement is beginning to form around your life. Not every change will happen instantly, but the current beneath the surface has already started to shift. Small signs may begin to appear first, moments of clarity, unexpected encouragement, or opportunities that align with the deeper desires of your heart. These early signs often act as reminders that your journey is not random. You are part of a story larger than the daily circumstances you experience. The strength you built through hardship, the patience you developed through waiting, and the faith you carried when answers were not visible have all prepared you for what lies ahead. And as this new season begins to unfold, the awareness that your life has drawn the attention of heaven can awaken a renewed sense of purpose within you. The same courage that carried you through the darkest chapters will now guide you through the unfolding pages of a story that is still being written, one moment at a time. There are times in life when the atmosphere around a person begins to feel different, even if nothing outwardly dramatic has yet occurred. It is as though an unseen shift has taken place beyond the boundaries of the visible world. Many people dismiss such moments as imagination, yet throughout history, the human spirit has often sensed movements that originate from a deeper realm. When a divine record connected to your life is opened, it is not merely a symbolic idea. It reflects a moment in which the unseen order of the universe begins to respond to the journey you have walked. For a long time you may have carried questions in your heart. You may have wondered why certain struggles seemed to repeat themselves, while others around you appeared to move forward without resistance. It might have seemed as if your life was marked by unusual tests, situations that demanded patience, resilience, and faith far beyond what felt reasonable. During those seasons, it is natural for the human mind to grow weary. Doubt sometimes enters quietly, asking whether the effort of staying true to your values is truly worth the cost. Yet the unseen realm measures a life differently than the world does. The world often praises quick success and visible achievements, but heaven pays attention to something deeper. It observes the shaping of the soul. Every trial you endured had the power to either harden your heart or deepen your wisdom. Each time you chose understanding over bitterness, something within you grew stronger. Each time you resisted the temptation to surrender, Your integrity, your character, was refined in ways that no outward reward could ever fully measure. The opening of your divine file suggests that these quiet victories have reached a moment of recognition. It means that the story written through your perseverance has not gone unnoticed. Even the battles that seemed invisible to others have formed a testimony that carries weight in the unseen order of things. Your life has been speaking in ways you may not have realized. Consider how many moments you walked forward without clear guidance. There were times when the path ahead felt uncertain, yet you continued moving because something within your spirit refused to give up. That inner determination was not merely stubbornness. It was the quiet echo of purpose, Karkan, lingering you to continue, even when the destination was hidden from your sight. Many people turn back when the road becomes difficult. They abandon their principles, their dreams, or their faith in order to escape discomfort. But you remained on the path even when it required sacrifice. That choice alone distinguishes your journey in ways that the world cannot easily. Recognizing endurance has a way of shaping a person into someone capable of carrying responsibilities that others might not be ready to bear. Now imagine the unseen realm observing these choices over time. The courage you displayed during hardship was not an isolated moment. It became part of a growing pattern, a pattern that reveals the strength of your spirit. The divine record of your life reflects more than events. It reflects the intentions and perseverance that guided those events. When such recognition occurs, it often signals the beginning of new alignment. Life begins to reorganize itself in subtle ways. The confusion that once clouded your direction may begin to clear. Situations that once drained your energy may gradually fade from your path. Even relationships can shift as people who resonate with your growth begin to appear, while those who belong to an earlier chapter quietly move away. These changes can feel both exciting and unsettling at the same time. Growth often requires leaving behind familiar patterns, even if those patterns once provided comfort. The opening of a heavenly record suggests that your life is being prepared for movement beyond the limitations of the past. What once defined you no longer holds the same authority over your future. You may also begin to notice a deeper awareness within yourself. The lessons you learned through hardship will start to guide your decisions more clearly. Where confusion once existed, discernment may begin to emerge. You might recognize situation as more quickly understanding which paths align with your purpose and which ones lead back into cycles you have already overcome. This clarity does not arrive all at once. It unfolds gradually, like the first light of dawn spreading across the horizon after a long night. At first the change may be subtle, almost imperceptible, yet with time the difference becomes undeniable. The person you are becoming begins to step forward with greater confidence and understanding. The message that your divine file is open also serves as a reminder that your life carries significance beyond what you may have imagined. Your experiences were not random chapters, scattered without meaning. They were forming a story that continues to unfold, guided by a wisdom far greater than human plans. There will still be challenges ahead, because growth never truly ends. Yet the difference now is that you are no longer the same person who once faced the earlier storms. You carry lessons, strength, and perspective that were earned through every season you endured. These qualities will shape the way you step into the future that is slowly beginning to reveal itself. And as this new movement continues, the awareness that your journey has drawn attention from the unseen realm can awaken a deeper sense of responsibility within you. The path ahead will require the same courage that carried you through the past, but it will also offer moments of clarity that remind you why every trial you faced was shaping you for something greater than you once believed possible. There comes a moment in many lives when the meaning of the past begins to change. Events that once appeared random start to form a pattern. Struggles that felt pointless begin to reveal hidden lessons. It is as though a light has slowly been turned on inside the soul, allowing you to see your journey from a higher perspective. When the unseen realm begins to examine the record of a life, this awakening often becomes one of the first signs that something greater is unfolding. For a long time, you may have carried the weight of unanswered questions. You may have asked yourself why certain battles appeared in your path repeatedly, why progress sometimes seemed so slow, and why the people you trusted occasionally became sources of disappointment. These questions are natural because the human heart longs for understanding. Yet the answers to such questions often arrive only after time has passed, and the purpose of those experiences becomes clearer. The opening of a divine record connected to your life suggests that the season of confusion is beginning to give way to a season of revelation. This does not mean that every mystery will be explained immediately. Rather, it means that the lessons hidden within your past are starting to align with the direction of your future. The trials that once tested your endurance were quietly shaping the wisdom you now carry. Think about how many moments you stood at a crossroads, without knowing which direction would ultimately prove right. There were times when you had to make decisions based only on faith, trusting that the path of integrity would lead somewhere meaningful, even if the outcome was uncertain. Such choices are rarely easy. The world often rewards quick advantage, yet you resisted the temptation to abandon your values simply to gain temporary success. Those decisions have become part of the testimony written about your life. Each moment of honesty, when deception might have benefited you, added another line to that record. Each time you chose compassion when bitterness would have been understandable, you strengthened something within your spirit that cannot easily be shaken. These choices may have seemed small at the time, but together they form the character that now defines the direction of your journey. When heaven begins to examine such a record, it does not focus only on outward achievements. It observes the transformation that occurred within you. The patience you developed during hardship has become a quiet strength. The empathy that grew out of your own struggles now allows you to understand others more deeply. Even the pain you once wished to escape has become a source of wisdom that guides your perspective. This transformation is often the true purpose behind the challenges you faced. Life was not simply testing your endurance, it was shaping your capacity. The person who once began the journey may have lacked the insight necessary to handle what lies ahead. Through experience, reflection, and perseverance, you have gradually become someone capable of carrying greater responsibility. As the story of your life reaches this point of recognition, new possibilities may begin to appear in ways you did not expect. Opportunities that once seemed distant may slowly move within reach. People who share your values and vision may enter your path at precisely the moment they are needed. Even circumstances that once felt stagnant may begin to shift, as if unseen forces are rearranging the pieces of a much larger design. These changes do not happen by accident. They are often the natural result of the growth that has already taken place within you. When your perspective evolves, the way you respond to life also changes. You may begin to notice that situations which once caused frustration no longer disturb your peace as deeply as they once did. Challenges that might have overwhelmed you in the past can now be approached with calm determination. This inner stability is a powerful sign that your earlier seasons were not wasted. They were preparing you for a stage of life where clarity becomes more important than speed. Instead of rushing toward every opportunity, you may find yourself choosing carefully, guided by the wisdom that experience has given you. You understand now that not every open door leads to the right destination. At the same time, there is often a renewed sense of purpose that emerges during this period. You begin to realize that your journey carries meaning beyond personal success or comfort. The lessons you learned through hardship may now serve as guidance for others who are walking through similar challenges. Your story becomes a source of encouragement, showing that endurance and faith can lead to transformation. This awareness can inspire a deeper commitment to living with intention. You may find yourself becoming more mindful of the influence your actions have on the world around you. The kindness you offer, the wisdom you share, and the integrity you maintain all contribute to the unfolding narrative of your life. The message that your divine file is open reminds you that your story is still in motion. The chapters you once thought were final may turn out to be only the beginning of something greater. Every step you take now carries the weight of the experiences that shaped you, but it also carries the promise of new possibilities that have yet to be revealed. And as this new stage unfolds, the awareness that your life is being guided by a wisdom beyond your own understanding can bring a quiet confidence to your heart. The same unseen care that carried you through past storms continues to move beside you, leading you forward into the next pages of a journey that is still being written. There are moments in a person's journey when the quiet movements of the unseen world begin to echo within everyday life. These moments rarely arrive with loud announcements or dramatic signs that everyone can see. Instead, they often begin with subtle changes, small shifts in respective, unexpected clarity during reflection, or a growing sense that the direction of your life is slowly aligning with something greater than your own plans. When a divine record connected to your name is opened, it signals that the journey you have walked has reached a point where preparation begins to transform into movement. For a long time, you may have lived through seasons that tested your endurance. You experienced delays that seemed unnecessary and obstacles that appeared just as you were beginning to make progress. During those times, it might have felt as though your efforts were invisible to the world around you. You may have questioned whether perseverance truly mattered when immediate results were nowhere in sight. Yet the truth is that many of the most important transformations in life happen beneath the surface, long before they become visible. The unseen realm often works in ways that are hidden from human understanding. While you were facing difficulties and searching for answers, something deeper was taking place within you. Your patience was growing stronger. Your awareness of what truly matters in life was becoming clearer, and your spirit was learning to rely on something more enduring than temporary circumstances. These inner changes are not accidental. They are often the foundation upon which the next stage of a person's journey is built. Without them, success might arrive too quickly and disappear just as fast. But when growth happens within the character of a person, it creates stability that allows future opportunities to take root and flourish. Now imagine the unseen realm observing the path you have walked. Every moment of perseverance when you refused to surrender to discouragement became part of the testimony written about your life. Every time you chose honesty instead of taking advantage of a situation added another line to that record. Even the quiet acts of kindness that no one else noticed carried weight beyond what you may have realized. The opening of a divine file suggests that these moments have reached a point of recognition. It is not merely a reminder of what has already happened, but also an indication that your story is entering a new phase. The lessons that once seemed difficult to understand are beginning to shape the way forward. The wisdom you gained through hardship is now ready to guide your next steps. You may begin to notice that certain situations no longer hold the same power over you as they once did. Problems that used to feel overwhelming may now appear as challenges that can be faced with calm determination. This change in perspective is one of the clearest signs that growth has already taken place within your life. The storms you survived have strengthened your ability to navigate whatever lies ahead. At the same time, new opportunities may start to emerge in subtle ways. They might not appear as dramatic breakthroughs at first. Instead, they often begin as small openings, conversations that inspire new ideas, connections with people who share similar values, or moments of insight that reveal possibilities you had not considered before. These early signs are like the first light of dawn, appearing on the horizon after a long night. Such moments invite you to move forward with awareness and intention. The experiences you have lived through have given you the ability to recognize which paths align with your purpose, and which ones lead back into cycles you have already overcome. Your discernment has become sharper because it was shaped through real challenges rather than easy victories. This awareness also brings a deeper sense of responsibility. When a life reaches a moment of spiritual recognition, it often carries the invitation to live with greater purpose. The wisdom you gained from your own struggles can now become a source of encouragement and guidance for others who are walking through similar seasons of uncertainty. You may find yourself speaking words that inspire hope in someone who feels lost, simply because you understand what it is like to search for direction in difficult times. The compassion you develop through your own experiences allows you to connect with people in ways that go beyond ordinary conversation. Your story becomes a quiet reminder that perseverance can lead to transformation. The opening of your heavenly record does not mean that challenges will disappear entirely. Life continues to bring moments that test patience and courage. Yet the difference now is that you face these moments with a deeper understanding of who you have become. The person who once struggled to see meaning in hardship has grown into someone who recognizes that every experience can carry purpose. As this new stage unfolds, you may begin to feel a renewed sense of confidence that does not depend on external approval. It comes from the knowledge that your journey has been shaping something real within you. The trials you endured did not weaken your spirit. They refined it, and with each step you take forward, the story that once seemed uncertain continues to reveal its direction. The path ahead may still hold mysteries, but it also carries the promise that the same unseen guidance which carried you through the past will continue to move with you into the future, unfolding a journey that is far greater than you once imagined.